Hey guys, this is Stu. I'm just doing an inbox review of a kit I just recently received. In fact, it was a birthday present from my brother Neil, so thanks bro. He came up trumps last year with the Chieftain tank on my birthday, and this year he's got what I was very much after, a kingtiger. Now, to be honest with you, I had my eye on this particular kit. Mainly around about October, November, because obviously we're coming up to the then 70th anniversary of the Ardennes offensive, or as everybody better knows it, the Battle of the Bulge. This actual kit caught my eye, particularly with this scene where I don't know where it is, but I think it must be just outside of Bastogne, where they've actually just stopped off after a minor battle with some Shermans, which they obviously have knocked out, and the Outrider is obviously talking to the crew. Now this is actually going to make a very good basis for a diorama, so as and when I get around to this kit, I think that's what I'm going to do. So there you go. The kingtiger itself, I think, really sort of came into the fray around about June 1944 during the Normandy campaign. It was a little bit more powerful in terms that the actual gun, the 88mm on it, was a far better developed one and had a little bit more punch than the Tiger 1. And the side armour, as well as on the turret itself, was considerably thicker. So it was feared more by the Allied armies, and it was in use right up until the Battle of Berlin at the end of the war. The kit itself, I think, dates from around about 2004, and I do apologise if you can hear some sort of laughing and chatting going on in the background, but that's my landlord playing on his Xbox at the moment online, so sorry about that, guys. Anyway, getting back to the review itself, this was issued, I think, around about 2003-2004. As I say, it's what I've had my eye on for a while, and I'm glad I got it. It's also my first kingtiger. The kit number, if anybody's interested in getting it, is 35252 4000. That's 35252 4000, okay? On the side of the box, you've obviously got the box illustration taken at the Ardennes offensive. The other side, you've got photos of the assembled crew and Outrider on his motorcycle, which look rather nice, and a little guide to the camo scheme, which was used at the time on the crew's winter outfits. Then you've got an option of one of three in the camo ambush scheme of the King itself. And then on the other side, you've got another variant of the actual camo scheme of the kingtiger as well, because this comes in three options. And obviously you've got an illustration of one done on a diorama, which does look superb. Right, first off, we go through the instruction sheet. As you can see, here's the familiar layout with an illustration of the actual box art, and then a small history of the vehicle itself. Inside, you've got a colour call out, which you can see here in Tamiya colours, but again you can cross match that with the hobby colour app on your phone. First off, as we normally do with our armour, is the assembly of the running gear, i.e. the running wheels, the sprocket and the idler wheel. Then you go on to the assembly of the torsion bars and suspension on the lower part of the actual hull, which you can see here, along with the back plate. And then you've got two armor plates at the front, and unusually on the second stage they're showing you putting the running gear all together onto the tank itself. Now personally, I'm going to leave that until the very last, because it's going to make life a lot easier. Then you've got the assembly of the exhaust system, which goes onto the back plate, which is then attached to the lower hull. And then assembly of sub-assemblies go onto the back of the back plate, like the lower part of the exhaust system, the jack, and the rear mud guards, which you can see there. And this is the periscopes for the driver and the machine gunner. Interestingly, they're showing you the air grills, and for this you actually put a mesh on, but personally I'm going to see if I can hunt out some aftermarket etched brass. Then you got the assembly of the tracks, which I'm not going to use. I'm going to get aftermarket. Okay guys. Then the next stage is the assembly of the upper hull, if you can see that, to the lower hull, but again I am not putting any of the running gear on. It's going to make life a lot easier. Next stage is the assembly of the only front headlight which was used on the Kingtiger as opposed to the Tiger one, which had two. Then the assembly of the machine gun, which goes on the front armour, and obviously you've got the engine hatch, which you can see there. Next is the assembly of the two side skirts, which go to the hull. But again, you can actually take pieces of these off because not all of them had the whole of the actual skirts there. Then adding all the other tools, and then the front hatches, which are for the driver and the machine gunner, and then you attach the rear tow bars. Okay. Next, you add more tools to the upper hull, along with the two tow bars on the both sides, and then you got the actual tow rope for the tracks, and I think then you add the grills. Then you got the assembly of the inner part of the turret, as well as the actual gun breech, which you can see there, which is attached, and then you've got the two loader seats and the commander's seat. And then you've got the assembly of the actual barrel itself. Obviously it's in two halves. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to see if I'm going to source an aftermarket metal barrel so that you haven't got that awful seam line on there. Then they're added to the main part of the mantlet. And then it's the assembly of the actual turret itself with the loaders, hatch, and you go for the option of having it closed or opened. If you do, then obviously you have to attach all the grab arms, which you see there. And then you assemble the commander's cupola, and then you've got the back loader's hatch, which you can see there. And I think these are used for actually putting the extra tracks on the side of the turret. Again, you've got all the grab handles on the turret to go on. You attach the gun, and then you attach obviously the spare tracks to the side of the turret, and the MG34, which you see there. And then it's the final assembly of lowering the actual turret, which you can move around. And then you make some the aerial antennae out of sprue. Okay, and then this is the assembly process of the DKW Outrider's motorcycle. And then there's a colour guide to his uniform there. And finally, you've got the colour guide to the loader and the commander. And then obviously you've got an illustration of how it should all look when it's finished. Okay guys, so that's that. Let's move that out of the way. There's your colour callouts, which you can see there is the customary ambush scheme. Okay, but again, as I say, you've got three options of 3 units you can use. Okay. Right, let's move on to the sprues. Okay, first off, you've got all the spare tracks which go on the side of the turret, which you can see here, along with the hooks, which, if you can see them, are right there, guys. Okay. Next, you've got the actual sub-assemblies of some of the motorbike. Now, whether this is to do a latter version or not, I'm not quite sure. But as I say, that is the main components of the actual motorcycle, which are beautifully detailed, which you can see there. Hope you can get a good view there. Okay, crisp as anything, not 1 ounce of flash at all. And then the next sprue, you'll have to excuse the gap because I've actually taken some of them off just to assemble the actual main part of the hull on the turret to give a size comparison to the Tiger 1. But anyway, moving on, you've got the 2 halves of the barrel there, inner part of the frame for the turret. This is the rear hatch, the loading hatch, and then obviously you've got the grills, which you can use mesh, which if I can find them here, That's your mesh, but again I won't be using that, I'll be sourcing aftermarket products. Then you got the front part of the actual barrel. Oh, excuse me, I apologise about that. And then the mantlet. And I think this is the commander, which you can see there, beautifully detailed as you can see. So yeah, that's going to come up well. And then you got the main sprue here, which is all got the main components of the tank, such as the MG34, which you can see here, beautifully detailed again. Then you got the rear plate, and obviously one of the side skirts, which you can see here. Okay guys, there's your tow rope. Again, you can make one up yourself, because Mike Conan can actually explain on one of his how-to videos if you want to find out. And there you go again. That's the part of the jack, which you can see there. And then you've got the engine hatch. The part of the gun breech, which you can see there. Rear mudguards. Okay guys. And that's those parts, and then obviously got the actual hatches, which you see there, the commander's hatch. And that's that. Then obviously we can bring everything onto the running gear. Again, it's beautifully crisply detailed, and that's going to come up beautifully with the wash. And then you've got parts of the torsion bars, which you see here. Then there's the tow bars, which you can see here. Okay. And then there's the other part of the running gear. Again, same sort of process, but you've got the main sprocket on this one, as well as the idler wheel. And this is the loader's figure. Again, it's beautifully detailed, lovely crisp detail, especially with the creases in his uniform. However, I think this uniform's going to be a bit of a bugger, and I have actually seen that you can get some aftermarket decal which you can put on it. I personally am going to try my hand at actually personally painting it, but hey, there you go. I love a challenge. Right, then obviously you've got the tracks. I am not going to be using these because they don't really sit naturally, and they are a bugger to paint. When you put the paint on, it just peels off. So guys, I'm going to be sourcing aftermarket tracks for these. Okay, and you get 2 sets. And this obviously is the main hull. Now I just wanted to show you the comparison of the size of that. Now if I bring my Tiger 1 over, which I recently finished, to that. Okay, now if you look at the hulls, the King Tiger is slightly narrower than the Tiger 1. I think they designed that for maybe speed, agility, I don't know, but the height of it is far bigger because it dwarfs the actual Tiger 1, so that's quite an interesting comparison. And the detail on it is absolutely superb, because obviously you've got the weld seams right here, which are beautifully caught. If I move it back, you can probably see them a bit better, guys. Again, on the main hull itself, the upper hull, beautiful seam lines across here, weld lines, and you've got the lovely texture there. The only thing I'm disappointed about is the fact that you haven't got these Emirates on it. That again, Tamiya do supply stick-on Emirates, or you can get a set from ATAC. I'll be getting a set from ATAC. Okay, so that's that. And then finally, you got the decals, and as I say, you've got 3 options. They are a bit thick, but Gil has actually given me a method to stop it from silvering, so there you go. And that, my friends, is the King Tiger from Tamiya of the Ardennes front. Superb kit. As I say, I'm going to get aftermarket just to enhance the actual detail on it. And I know Mike recently did a Kurt Nisbel's King Tiger, and they make super kits. So definitely get one if you want to make it your first. I know the Dragon kits are far superior, but I shall enjoy the process of this build. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the review. So until then, get kit crazy, happy modelling, and I'll see you on the next one.